I really believe that we're on to something, and that something is marketing that actually leaves the world better than we found it. Can you imagine marketing, like all of us as business people, sharing important messages to the world such that when we share those messages, it leaves the world better than we found it? No more trickery, no more spamming, no more manipulation, just good intentions, good hearts, helping the world with what it is that we're here to help them with. So that's what the show is about. Let's talk about stretching your content further. I just got off an interview with a client. So part of the thing we do in our marketing agency, one of the services we have is that we interview clients and help them produce their own show. So it's super cool because the client just shows up, we interview them, we then take that, produce it as a show, write blog posts, post it to their social, all the stuff. We do all the stuff, they just have to show up when we interview them. So I just got done interviewing a client and we hung up, or we stopped recording, and they were like, oh, I should have mentioned this link, and I should have mentioned this resource. And I said, hey, it's totally perfect, because the whole point of your episode, the whole point of your content is to inform, educate, help, but there's never one episode that's going to share it all. You're never going to get it all done in one episode. So when you think of additional resources or ideas that you thought or wish you would have shared in your episodes, in your posts, you can always come back to that. You can always come back by sharing the resource. So what I would do, we were talking about websites being ADA compliant, right? Americans with Disabilities Act, having websites be ADA compliant. If you guys want to see that episode, it'll come out here in November. And the show is called The Human Side of Marketing, The Human Side of Marketing. So one of the resources that he wanted to share was a tax credit. There's a tax credit you can actually get in making your website ADA compliant. And he's like, I should have shared that link. Right, well, cool. So here's the part, right? When the episode goes out in the world, you can actually now create an additional post that says, hey gang, on this date, we had this post link. And in that post, we talked about websites being ADA compliant. Now, one of the things that's cool about that is you can actually get a tax credit. Here's a link for where to go learn about the tax credit. So you can actually take the ideas, the additional ideas and resources you have about the content you've already created, and you can actually create additional posts that not only point people to the resource, but that also point people back to your episodes. So not only are you going to get additional views or listens, downloads on your podcast, etc., from the additional posts referencing the original episode, but you also are providing that value ongoingly. You're adding more nurturing and more value ongoingly by simply connecting them back to additional resources about the original post, right? So if you ever have it where you're like, I should have said this, perfect. You know what? Create a second post and say that thing, and then reference the post that you wanted to say it in. Now you're deepening the conversation. One of the things we always talk about in the show is like marketing is about you leading a conversation. And so you'll always be met with additional insights that you want to share. And that insight will be linked to something you've probably already said. So you can simply do that. You're like, hey, I was thinking about this episode I did on whatever, and it made me think about this. If I had known it then, I would have said it then, but I didn't. So I'm saying it now. Let's continue. In that episode, I said this. If you want to listen to the full thing, you can go there. But here's what it made me think of. And then share the additional idea or resource that you want to share. Many times you guys can get inspired by your own content for additional content. Have you ever done that? Do you go back through your content and then say, based on that last episode, what could I add in this conversation that would take it deeper? Some of you don't even need additional ideas for content. You just have to go through your past content and let it wash over you and think about what you could add to it that would help the person listening. What else could you add that would take them deeper down the road of what it is you're talking about in each of your past episodes?